Hi everyone, welcome to Chavanji, my YouTube channel. My name is Lillian. For those of you who are new here, on here we talk about business, finance, and life in general. And in this particular video, I'm going to be talking about the 6 reasons as to why I read a lot. So we live in a digital world where everything is so much computerized. If you need to text somebody, you need to go out for a meal, you need to buy something. Most organizations have apps where you need to have some sort of login so you're able to purchase from the websites. So everything is all digitalized. If you need to read a book, you don't have to go the old style, although that's what I prefer. So you can have your Kindle, or you can have it on your phone. There's so many ways as to how you can find out information. And this can also be through the different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, name it. So all these different social media platforms can be a form of gaining knowledge. So the number one reason as to why I read is reading is food for the brain. So just like we eat, we drink, we exfoliate. Like I'm going for a night shift. This is my first night of three. So I'm going for a night shift. Just exfoliated, done some, put on some mask as well, and I'm going for my night shift. So whilst I'll do all those things for my skin and for my body, is the same way I'm supposed to actually look after my brain. So having that stimulation, taking all the, making sure that all my brain cells are working as they should. This helps me to actually keep on being cognitively paired throughout my day, throughout the way I do things, throughout the night shift, or whatever I'm doing. So I'm, kind of like in the right frame of mind because I read a lot and I don't want to kind of like go off the banner by not reading a lot. I know reading helps you to kind of like stay positive in a sense that you have that growth mindset as opposed to a fixed mindset. I've done a video around fixed mindset and a growth mindset, and just make sure you check it out. Point number two is being conversational. So when I was growing up, my dad used to buy two different newspapers religiously. So I'm from Uganda, and there's a Gabon newspaper that's called the New Vision, and then there's a Luganda version of that, which is Bukedde. So we had to read both newspapers. It was a tradition in my family, and we had to do it. So my dad used to say that when you don't read, you don't know what's going on in the world. It also enables you to expand your knowledge, have an understanding of how things, perform, how things are done in the world, how different cultures do certain things. Um, and that helps you to actually be able to have a decent conversation with other people. He used to say, so what happens if you asked about, the weather in, let's say, Kenya? What are you going to talk about? You have to have an idea of what the weather is like in Kenya. They might have had, let's say, landslides. I don't know anything, that's happened in there. So you reading helps you to have this knowledge, so you're able to have a decent conversation with other people that you interact with. So he used to make sure that we read on a daily, every single day. So we had to read the English version, and you also had to read the Luganda version. So he used to say it's one way of expanding your vocabulary anyway. There's no other way you're going to expand your vocabulary apart from you watching telly. And he was like, watching telly is, you only have the English version, because at the time of growing up, we only had the English version. So everything on telly was, apart from the news, everything else was in English. Watching the news on CNN or BBC, or TV Africa, for those of you who remember TV Africa, everything was in English. So it was like those bulletins are done in English. No bulletins are done in Luganda apart from the ones that we have at 7 o'clock. So he used to say that you need to be able to read. You need to be able to read a lot and have an understanding of how things work and how things are done in different side of the world. So being conversational is one way you're going to be able to read. Sorry, one way you're going to be able to improve your vocabulary and be able to interact with other people. And I've seen that actually play out quite a lot. So when I'm interacting with my patients and I need to distract them, there's so much I can talk about. Although the British here talk about the weather, that's one thing that you're going to start a conversation with. Have you seen the weather? It's so cold outside, or it's warm, it's going to be raining. That's how you break the ice, so to speak, when you're here in the UK. They talk about the weather quite a lot. So yeah, reading helps you be more conversational. And then point number 3 is cheap mentorship. All the business people or business gurus or people who've been successful, whatever success means to you. So as a person who runs an online business, I read a lot. I read a lot of fictional books, which are going to be very helpful, which have been very helpful in my business journey. At the moment, I'm reading the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I've only just started reading this this morning, and I'll be reading this on my break time as well. And also, I read this when I come back home for an hour. So I read for 2 hours a day. So reading these books has given me very simple mentorship from people who've been there and done that, so to speak. So basically what happens is, so I'm reading and I'm seeing their experiences, how they went about doing certain things, how you're able to negotiate, how you're able to interact with your people that you work with in business, anybody you meet, how you can network, how you can manage your time more effectively. So all these things I've managed to attain through reading. One book that really helped me a lot in managing my time was the 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss, on how you can delegate. Like, I can edit all my videos, but what I do is some videos I edit them, and then other videos I find somebody on Fiverr who does editing for me. So being able to delegate. So when I delegate, I'm able to manage my time better, in the sense that that time can then be used to do something else, which makes me be more productive. So reading has enabled me to be a better person from a business point of view, because then I'm able to learn all the different tips and hacks on how I'm able to do certain things on my for my business and for my personal growth as well, because I read a lot of self-help books, and that has helped me tremendously to actually be a better person with when I'm interacting with my other peers, my friends, my colleagues, my family, and all of that. Which then brings us to point number 4, which is reading helps me to learn or build new skills. So when I read there's a book that I read, which is the Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason. That book taught me a lot around finances. So it tells you, it really explains things in the very simplest form. um, I had never thought about paying myself first, and that is one thing that most people don't actually do. So when you get paid, when you work for, you get your wages or your salary, or you do a gig and you get paid, the first thing that you do is to take off 10% and save that. That is you paying yourself first, and then you can budget for the other 80% that remains with oh yeah, let's say 100% of what you've been paid. 10% of that is taken off, and then the other 90% you can then budget that to pay off other things. So that is one thing that I really learned, and then that changed my mindset around savings, because it then tells you how you're able to use your money to actually work for you, as opposed to just leaving that money to sit in the bank. Make that money grow by investing it into, you can use the stocks and shares, or buy funds, or buy cryptocurrencies if you really understand cryptocurrencies. Whatever you need to do, or put that money into your business, which sometimes I do. So being able to learn all these skills, it was through reading. So I strongly encourage you to go and buy that book, which is The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason, and the Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, another great book that you need to buy and read. So all these books, I was able to learn so many skills. I will do a book review of all these books that have really helped me tremendously to be a better person financially, socially, and business wise. Point number 5 is around being well-rounded. When you read, you learn around you learn a lot around different cultures. You have a good understanding of history as to why things came about, and that that really helps you have a good understanding of why you may not do certain things because you know of what happened when some things were done in a certain way. For example, so when you have a good understanding of finances as to why you need to budget, budgeting helps you in being able to understand as to how you're going to be able to save money. So that in itself, if you had not read about how people just spend their money, anyhow, and not understanding the difference between an asset and liability, it doesn't really help anyone if they're just spending their money anyhow. So being well-rounded as well entails understanding other cultures, understanding why they will do things a certain way, being able to be empathetic as to how you deal with certain things. So although in the health and care environment we do have trainings, but also reading greatly emphasizes that. So I read a lot to become a well-rounded person from a culture point of view, financial point of view, business point of view, and from a personal point of view, professionally as well. And then the last point around why I read a lot is a distress factor. You know, with the job that I do, it is very stressful. Some of you can understand. I'm not saying that other jobs are not stressful. It is mentally and physically stressful. So when I come back home after I've had a shower, I read to distress. So there's two things that I do. So I meditate. I know. I do meditate for an hour and then I read for an hour as well. But if I'm not doing a night shift, and I've just done a day shift, then I'll read for 2 hours because in the day I find it really hard to read when I'm on a day shift rather than nights. I don't know why, it's so weird. I can read for my half hour break, whereas I cannot read for my half hour break in the day shift. I don't know why, for some weird reason it happens. So when I do a day shift, I do read when I come back, and that helps me to wind down before I actually go to sleep. And it's the same way I do when I do a night shift. So I will come back, have a shower. Sometimes I'll have some toast, have some breakfast. It depends how I feel, and then I will read to wind down. But I'll read for an hour after I've meditated. Read for an hour to help me distress and wind down, so I'm able to re-energize. So I'm ready for my next shift or just for the day in general. And yeah, and that's it. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, and then share with me the reasons as to why you also read. I mean, there's so many reasons as to why I read. Those are my main 6 reasons as to why I read. Like I always say, visualize your higher self, show up as them, and be the change that you want to be. See you again next time. Thank you. Bye.